What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog, author of the Smartphone Millionaire book, How to Invest in People, Businesses, and Real Estate from the Palm of Your Hand. You can grab that on Amazon as well as our planners and our gratitude journals. You can check those out for yourself. But I had to bring a guest on because people requested this video yesterday. Multiple people said, "Hey, Erica, can you please do a reaction video to the CNBC? The middle class is disappearing." And I said, I'll do twofer for you. There's two videos they put out on the middle class that I thought were ridiculous. So we're going to go over them. And I thought, who better to bring on than DJ the Money Coach? DJ introduced themselves while we bring up the video.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? DJ the Money Coach. If you don't know me, I've got a story just like everybody else. You know, went to college, got a miseducation, and turned around and earned myself $60,000 worth of consumable debt and student loans, and earned myself a 525 credit score. And instead of playing victim, I read a chapter in a book called Road to Wealth, and within 12 months, I took my credit score to 700, and 24 months after that, took my credit score to 800, and within 3 years, I paid off all my debt. I did not file bankruptcy because nobody put a gun in my head to actually make me sign my name on the back of those credit cards or take them student loans out. So within 2002, I became totally consumer debt free, paid off everything in my name. And 6 years after that, 2008, I became a six-figure income earner through passive business, real estate, and tax laws, and became a $1 million net worth person. And from there, ladies and gentlemen, I started teaching people financial education since 2002. And since, I've sat down with 25,000 people, families, churches, business schools, Chamber of Commerce, Federal Reserve Bank, State of Illinois, State of Michigan, Montgomery Regional Airport in Alabama, done all their financial education, work with major credit unions that have over 45,000 members that they exclusively do my family finance one-on-one program. And we go across the country teaching how to get out of debt, increase credit scores up to 830 to 60 days. And we teach people how to start businesses, buy real estate from the gross revenue from the business, and then leverage the tax laws and the 8 different entity structures. And that's my story. I'm sticking to it, and I'm excited to be here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I'm also the author of the amazing ABCs to Wealth, Common Sense Strategy Achieving American Dream. And this is actually 26 strategies over the last 20 years that when I sat down with over 25,000 people on how to actually get them out of debt and earn businesses and earn their freedom and what we call the pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. And we want everybody to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. And I'm just here to help out and explore the conversation.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm not trying to make sure I do this right. You guys, let me see here. Chrome. There we go. All right. Now you guys are going to be able to hear what we're hearing. I think you're going to love it. Okay. So, all right, let's get on to it. Whoa. Did you see that last number for a family of 5?
I think you want me to start? You jump in.
Woo! So, you guys, I don't know if you can see the number on the screen. I hope you can. It's $58,347. DJ the Money Coach, let's even divide that by 4. By 12 months. I'm not even laughing. And you guys think I'd be laughing. I'd be having a little bit of a cough here. So
Oh, my goodness.
I apologize. So 12 months, that's $4,800.62. Let's divide that by 2 paychecks. That's $2,431. That's before we even take out taxes. That is before we even take out taxes.
I got about 23, 24%.
Yeah. Let's just even tax them 20% right after it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
$11,000, 600 comes out of that.
Mm. So
So
47.
really, they got 46,000.
$4,000 a month.
Three
Not
thousand
bad.
eight hundred $3,895.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, was it 3,700?
It'll be 3,895 after taxes a month.
Wow.
And we already know. Let's even go housing for 5 people. Let's just go ahead and say 1,500 off the rip. Then let's say a car with insurance. Let's say 500. Just keep it low. You got $1,000 left over. You're talking about insurance for a family, food for a family, lighting, housing bills. That's poverty for
Oh
a
yeah,
family of 5.
absolutely.
That's poverty, y'all. We did is take out rent. That's after we took out taxes and we took out rent, y'all. They're down to 1,000 spending bucks for 30 days for a whole month.
Didn't do anything with clothing, education,
Teeth, dentistry appointments.
savings, dental.
So
Surely ain't gonna get a vacation in that.
so what are your thoughts even on, I mean, I feel like they said, "Oh, this is the first video, y'all. There is a second video we're going to show." They're saying, "Oh, we can't really define what middle class is yet." But I can tell you with certainty, this is not it. This is not it. And a lot of people on the internet are hollering about they make 40,000 a year. Honey, you're in poverty. You're a hop skip from poverty. One unexpected kid. Let me go back to, I think it was the household of 4. 52,000. What's the difference? You added a whole nother kid and only added $1,000 more.
And you would have to be living in Arkansas, Mississippi, somewhere in the backwoods of Louisiana to be able to survive on that type of income. To be honest with you, and no disperse. I'm not casting any dispersion on any of those states, but I'm just telling you, relative to real middle class income, you you couldn't even survive on subsidies or Section 8 with that type of income in the major cities.
And
That's
then they
not,
just said for one person. So if you're just one person, 26,000 a year is middle class. You guys, you know there's some funny business with the numbers here.
oh, absolutely. And you're gonna
Where can you rent a house?
exactly. You're gonna tell me these people in these little commercial spots don't have student loans either,
Or a new car
right?
with car payments.
I think the one spot that you sent me, I think is after this one with the young
Mm-hmm.
lady in Texas. Is crazy. So the the first thing that I think you should address is looking at your budget, because the reality is that taxation inflation doubles every 10 years. That's a fact. All you have to do is go back and look what the cost of things were in 2012
Mm-hmm.
and compare it to where they are today. And one thing you'll see is that we're going through the same cycle right now that we went through in the Great Recession from 2008 to 2013. And if you are in position right now and you're panicking, first thing I would say, don't panic.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. When this is basically propaganda that's
To
intended.
feel good propaganda.
Right, right, and it's intended to make you think that everything is okay at these income levels, but it's not. And then also, you typically will go out and either overextend yourself. But right now, I will be excited, to be honest with you, because you and I both know in this volatile market, cash is king.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to give people 7 secrets for the middle class, the first thing I would tell them, Erica, is that right now you should be stockpiling cash, and you should be making adjustments in your portfolio, and to have a percentage of your portfolio. And I'm talking about your paper assets. You
Mm-hmm.
have a percentage of those paper assets in money, depending on your age group, your debt structure. So I would go anywhere from 5% up to as much as 30% if you're on the back end of the fourth quarter of life, and you've actually taken care of all your debt and pretty much your assets, I would stockpile cash, because what you're going to find out is as the interest rates continue to rise,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to find all these people that overextended, just like from 2008 to 2013. Those properties, those assets are going to be going right back on the market on for sale for pennies on the dollar.
Did you get a chance to see my video earlier today?
Yep.
I did a whole breakdown on that. I said I'm in a group and the men are basically partnering together. They're just gonna make the phones ring because they know it's coming. They know people are gonna just, okay, I got a tax lien. How much is it? I ain't paying for that. Here you go. Like some people are gonna want to get out of the property just because of the cost, right? You got a lot of people with inherited land they're not doing anything with. Um, in Florida, I got a guy coming on maybe later this week or probably next week. Going to record with him. He literally is buying homes where people who are not a great neighborhood, building new construction, and they sell like this. Like first time homebuyers are like, yes, something affordable. Oh yes, I've been looking for something new in this neighborhood, and people don't understand the economy is going to move. The next 3 to 5 years, if you're a real estate person, and I mean in the trenches, making money, making calls, making relationships because it's vital, you're going to be good to go. So while people are sitting here saying the middle class is disappearing, Erica, it's going away. The homes are too expensive. They wouldn't be making homes this price if people couldn't afford them.
Right.
There's somebody out there who can afford this price.
Oh yeah, they're doing actuary accounting, which people don't realize. So anytime you get an insurance policy, an annuity, it's based off of actuary accounting. So they look at for every person that's age 25 and make $25,000 a year, for each one of those, for every 100,000, a percentage of them do A, B, C, and D like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then that's how they base the rates, and that's how they base what the annuities will pay out and give you a fixed rate of return. So the second tip that I would give them in the seven secrets for the middle class, because the middle class is not going anywhere. It is shrinking a little bit, but it's not going anywhere no time soon. The second thing is what you just said. Once you took and put your cash together collectively, you should start shopping for deals. And you should start shopping for deals. And I know what you're saying right now. The person that's watching this that says, I don't have cash,
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything, and I'm basically upside down and everything, which basically means your car, your house is worth less than the credit that you have borrowed for it. So in all reality, it's time to negotiate, because at this point in time, again, if you go back and study history, Erica, from the Great Recession, when they did a reset on the overinflated values of properties and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
these things are going to reset themselves as well. Even though in real estate, there's a great time to make great deals, but like anything else, in the next 5 to 7 years, they're going to reset and they're going to come down, because as the interest rates start to escalate, the prices are going to come down a little bit as well. Because right now we're still under 3% interest rates in some areas.
Yeah.
Until we get back up over 7% interest, it's still a buyer's market. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's a buyer's market. So you're getting super appreciation right now. So I would take, if I was in the negative, I was upside down, I would actually start to negotiate my debt structure. That's the first thing I would do. And then I would analyze my debt and start put myself on a fixed income. And then most importantly, Erica, I would start developing digital transformational skills by taking certifications and learning about digital real estate, and get myself into a group to be mentored.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third secret is I would acquire it. For those who are doing well, I would get as max amount of lines of credit that I possibly can get. Because right now, while they're giving all this great lines of credit, go and get it, but make sure that you are using it so they don't reset that as well. So one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that happened during the Great Recession, where people had a lot of lines of credit, and then they found out with all these derivatives and these toxic assets,
Boom,
they
gone.
started shutting down the lines of credit, the home equity lines of credit. And they did at the beginning of the pandemic, when they a
Oh, they
lot of
closed my American Express.
yeah, they shut all that stuff down. So, but one way you can keep it going is just to, let's say you had a business line of credit of 10,000, and you don't really need to use it. What you would be wise enough to do is to every month use 10% of it, just buying stuff and paying it off because it's active. So that way that justifies for them to keep it open. And then if you continue to use it, like go 30, 40, 50% of the equity line to the debt, they would actually increase your business credit line because they get paid for giving people and businesses primarily lines of credit. Okay. So that will be the third secret for the middle class. So again, these advertisements by CNBC, they're propaganda, and their propaganda, and the reality is that if you are positioned and you plan for this position, you're going to actually see an uptick in your wealth, and you'll be 100% professional middle class in the next 3 to 5 years. If you're working middle class and you have a plan, you'll be professional middle class. And then the fourth thing that you'll do is you'll pursue leverage, and you'll be able to take the assets from cash, the deals, acquiring business credit lines, and then you'll be able to leverage that against your asset pool, your actual income, and your skill sets, and you'll be in the position of strength. And I don't think a lot of people understand that. And so the fifth thing I would say for the 7 secrets for the real middle class is now I'm making adjustments to my budget. And I give you an example because you're going to show that other video.
Because as soon as you said about budgets, this is why I wanted to hit it, because in the beginning, I think she talks about budget.
Yep.
Let me see if we get to where she's talking about her, but let me see where I can see it. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. This lady is in Dallas, and I'm gonna go to right here where she talks about her budget.
Yep.
And then I'll come back to the beginning.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Meet Chantel Jacob. Chantel lives in suburban Texas with her husband and one child. And while a household income of just over $100,000 should put her family in the middle income tier, she says that her family is still struggling toward financial stability.
Sounds great, 6 figures. But once we got married, the taxes that come out of my check, before I even get any money, before all of my benefits, $500 come out of my check automatically. And then you add in insurance, life
insurance.
So
let's stop right there. Let's stop right there for a second. So remember when we talked about the 5 secrets of wealth over the winter? First rule of thumb, when she talked about before she even getting her net income, what she should do is adjust her withholding exemptions.
Because she's saying 500, so 500 times 2 is 1,000.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what size is her check. Is it like $4,000 a month she's getting? Is it 5?
Exactly. So if she sat down with a great tax accountant and a great planner, when she said this, I was like, okay, hold up. You got 1 child, 3 people, and you have a home that you're renting. I can tell you right now that if I went and sat down with her, Erica, and adjusted her exemptions and her withholding, she would immediately pull back. If she's in 100,000 household income, like they say she is, she could pull $600 net back into her cash flow. But you know what? Nobody's telling her that. The HR is not telling her that. The people are preparing her taxes. So she's already overpaying for taxes. And the reality is, like we talked about in the 5 secrets of wealth over the winter time, is that after June 12th of every year, the fiscal government has basically taken out 90% of the federal taxes that they take out of your check. And if you just don't know that, you're going to continue to overpay. So you can bet that she gets a tax refund, and a nice size tax refund. So instead of getting that nice size tax refund, all she got to do is an adjustment to her exemption and withholdings. So that's the first thing.
Thank you. I'm telling you, when people tell you how much taxes, whenever I hear, I'm gonna say it this way. She said she got $100,000 income plus they do the plus sign, $100,000. When I hear that nowadays, because I know how taxes work, I'm already in my head thinking 70,000 ish. Because if that person doesn't know how to stop that from coming out of their check, they're down to 70. But wait, let's hear more of her budget. That's the part that was bothering me. Here we go.
And I also have money going aside for my son's college fund. It's not a lot because I can't do that much, but I want to have something for him. My check that starts off at about $3,000 goes down to $2,200 before I even get to touch it. Our rent's about $1,700. Electricity is about $150. Phone bill's about $280.
All right, let's stop.
Wait. Let's go back. She said her check is down to $2,300. So if $500 is coming out of her check, that's 28. I just had to do this because I hate when they don't give real numbers. 2,800 times twice a month, right? That's 5,600 times 12. So she's making $67,000. So if she said her and her husband are making 100, that sounds like Oh Boy's only making 32.
There you go.
There's a problem there, right?
Now,
like they got to work together on that.
So
that day.
Here's another problem.
Okay.
You stop right here, $280 a month on cell phone bill. Guess what? I bet you
That's
like
ridiculous.
90% of the people, you know what she do? She got a plan to pay for the phone instead of the service. So if she was really trying to assertively run a budget, Immediately, when I look at their assessments, when we talk to them, Erica, I ask them, who's your carrier? How long you been with them? What phone do you have? And at the end of the day, I say, you know what? Check out this plan, that plan, and this plan. And right there, I know for a fact 3 carriers that could cut her bill. As long as she's paying for the service, she's probably paying for the phone as well, because she looks like somebody, and I'm not placing any judgment, but she looked like somebody that's buying always the name brand stuff. Okay? And from buying the name brand stuff, you're overpaying for stuff that is actually 50% of the value after you get it. So with her cell phone, she immediately can cut that in half, because there's only 2 people in her house.
I mean, my
and she got
unlimited
3.
is 45.
Real talk, check it out. I got 5 cell phone lines in my house, Erica.
Where are we at? Hold on. We about to
Coverage
do the phone
only.
game. I got 3 phones in this bag right now.
Right. I got 5 lines in my house, and I pay $124 a month, tax included. And I got the fastest coverage on the planet.
You know what we forgot to add in the equation? Her buying the newest phone and paying for it.
Exactly.
So that's part of it.
That's
too.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That's what she's paying
I had
for.
to think. I was like, how
So
much?
immediately with her plan, Erica, I could have 10 phones and 10 lines.
So let me go. Look, this is the part that's gonna get me riled up, because it got me riled up.
Internet 60. We both have vehicles. Those are
We
All
both have
Right,
vehicles.
exactly. That's the one that got me. $800 a
Wait,
month.
this is 800 in payments. Now listen to
about
insurance.
800. Insurance on those vehicles is about
Overinsured as well.
She's got 800 in
She's
payments
paying
and 400
$1,200.
insurance.
She's paying $14,400 a year for 2 cars and overinsured. And here's another thing. So here's another tip, ladies and gentlemen. There's a thing called PIP. Write this down, okay? Personal injury protection. If she has major medical insurance, which I'm sure she does, her PIP covers an accident for her personal health if she had to go to the hospital. And once you have both policies, Erica, you cannot cash in on both of them. It's called double indemnity, okay? And here's why I know that. So here's where the education comes in. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I am a licensed professional agent for 15 years plus. I have home, auto, health, and casualty life insurance as an agent. I don't write policies, Erica. I just study the laws so that I can educate consumers like this. So right there, if she hasn't had a citation in 3 years and she hasn't had a claim in 3 years, immediately her auto insurance could be cut almost by 30%. And I give you 3 guesses, and the first 2 don't count, how I can guarantee it. Again, I'm just going to go to my own self. I have 4 cars, and 2 of them have full coverage on them. And again, I only pay $72 a month. And I'm talking about with a top 3 carrier in the country. But because you are overextending yourself, you're now paying for education. You could be in your own house. So right there, I look at her budget and I look at her insurance. I immediately tell her, hey, if you haven't had those 3, claims, you haven't had any claims in 3 years and any citations, I immediately can get you a 20% discount and the top carriers out there on your auto insurance immediately. So if you take that, that's right there, $80. That's $1,000 a year right there off the top. Saved her also on her cell phone, $140. So there's $220 we just brought back into her house right there. Okay.
So 220 times 12 months, you guys, is what?
That's $2,500.
Listen, every dollar counts. When you're crying that you have no money and you live in Dallas, when I'm thinking a $400 a month car payment per car, I would bet money, hands down, you're talking about a BMW or Mercedes. We ain't talking about no Honda, and we ain't talking about no Civic. We ain't talking about no Toyota. Y'all, $400 to $500 payments in our society on average are a BMW, a Charger. I'm telling y'all.
The average middle class, because this is what I do for a living, Erica. You know that. I sit down with hundreds of people a month, right? And soon as I sit down with them, their average car payment with insurance is always somewhere about $900 to $1,200 a month.
I would not be shocked.
And
you know why? I just would. People love cars.
Here's the problem in our community, okay? Because in my generation, my parents and my grandparents always told me, don't buy other people's stuff. Always get brand new. But that was true back then.
When it was bad quality.
It was bad quality. We didn't have consumer protection laws and all that stuff. We didn't have the lemon law.
Lemon laws.
Now that we have all of this in technology, again, I'm gonna keep it real with you, right? You know for a fact, my car broke down the second week of October after 20,000 miles, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most of the people in my inner circle was like, man, go buy the ABC. You can afford anything, bro. You can write a check for it. I said, the reality is I worked in the car business for like 4 years. And after that new car smell wears off, Erica, I ain't gonna be excited about making a car payment. You know what I went out and done? I went to the auction, and I found myself a pre-driven Lexus that was 10 years old, one owner. I took it to a certified master mechanic, had it checked out, Erica, and I spent a whopping $5,000 for the car, Erica. I turned right around and went to CarMax, and they told me the car was worth no less than $8,500. And since I've gotten the car, I've already put like 7,000 miles on it, and it runs like a top. Now, your average person in the middle class, they're not going to do that because that's beneath me. But guess what? Based on her numbers, how much money did I just save? I just saved $9,500 every year based on her 2 car payments and her overpriced auto insurance.
9,300, y'all. She's paying it. $800 a month in car payments and $400 in insurance. That's $1,200. That's the price of
$14,400 a year. Just think 5 years.
You see where she's complaining about the price of their what they're renting, and I'm like, you are paying a mortgage.
Exactly. So this is a person that doesn't know. So we can't blame her because she don't know what she don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to a point where things start getting tight, you should start seeking some type of help.
Information.
And that's where number 6, 7 secrets for the middle class freedom is to plug into a educational financial system. Plug into an educational financial system. And like I said, when you said, hey, introduce yourself, DJ, I told them, hey, I looked up college degree. I went to school to become a CPA, Erica. I couldn't tell you a darn thing about personal finances. But if you put a general ledger, a P&L in front of me, a depreciation chart for corporations, dude, I was the best at it. But if you told me about personal finances and credit cards and mortgages at that time, I was clueless. And to the tune, 525 credit score, $60,000 worth of debt, and I put myself in that. So with this professional, this reminds me back in that time when I was in that scenario, they did a piece on 60 Minutes with doctors, lawyers, and engineers, literally, and PhDs that had record-breaking consumable debt. And that was like 15 years ago. And they all said, I never got a class on personal finances. And this will be the same thing with this young lady here. From the cell phone to the car, we could actually bring back into her household probably about $1,500 a month.
All right, let's see what else she says crazy on this one. Let's see here. And this isn't crazy, y'all. This is the average person. You know what I mean? So let's go ahead.
This is real.
$400 on food, $400 to $500 a month, but that's increasing. We budget down to the dollar, and sometimes it's very disheartening to work all week and have people tell you like, oh, you're so lucky, you have a great job, and then you're like, I don't know about that.
There are several reasons why the middle class is feeling squeezed. The first reason is stagnated income. Between 1970 and 2018, the middle class share of aggregate income fell by 19% in the US. In comparison, the share of aggregate income for upper income households saw a rise of 19%. Another study by the Brookings Institute found that income in the middle class has grown half as fast compared to both the bottom 20% and the top 20% of income tiers once taxes and transfers were taken into account.
If I stay at a company for a while, my income becomes stagnant. You know, it increases by a couple thousand. I generally have to job hop to have increases in my income, which in itself is not security.
Middle class workers over the last 40 years have not been able to adequately benefit from the productivity growth, the expansion of the pie.
Stop. Okay. So first of all, we saw that chart. Can I go back to that chart and go ahead and go over that? First of all, me and you know what's happening here. The lowest income, they're like, man, they're getting an increase. Inflation. So yes, can they buy a car now? Can they buy a TV, big screen TVs? Can they buy crap? Sure. This middle class person, which we've seen over and over, What did she just say? She spends $1,200 a month on cars. If you live in Dallas, Texas, and you know how Dallas, Texas, she's actually in the edge part. She's like in Frisco, right? So let's just do the 3x rule. 100,000 times 3x. She could afford a $300,000 house. There are plenty of them in Dallas. Let's even give her the 3.5. 350,000, 400,000. They could afford a house. But see, they're spending the mortgage on the cars.
Exactly.
So the middle class button here, this drives me crazy when they talk about the income. When you make more income, you're supposed to invest more.
Exactly.
And so what we're doing is, I make all this money, like, invest more. At the peak of my income a couple years ago, I was like, yo, I'm investing $1,000 a week. And everybody in my family told I was absolutely crazy. All my friends told me I was crazy. But when the first emergency happened and I got in a car accident, guess where I was able to pull from? My savings, my investments. I was able to liquidate stocks and be able to pay rent and do all these things and get another vehicle. And so when I tell people, you making more money doesn't mean I go on more trips, I go on more vacations, therefore I am middle class. It means massive investing. But in order to do massive investing, you have to have a plan. And I didn't hear that she had student loans. So I don't know what job she does that she's making $67,000 a year, but we didn't hear student loans in that equation. So she's luckier than most.
That's the point. And you know what you got to look at too, and what we teach in the class in Family Finance 101, people buy what they want.
Mm-hmm.
They buy what they want, and they beg for the things that they need. They buy what they want, and they beg for the things that they need. So in this particular situation, this person could have the American dream, like you said, if they were not overextended in the cars, which are depreciable assets at best, and overpaying for the nice up-to-date cell phones, because there's no reason why she's paying $280 a month if she's not buying the latest cell phone on the payment plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reality. So when you looked at her budget from that perspective, that's not being, genuine. It's disingenuous the way they present this propaganda, because at the end of the day, her debt and her purchasing things that she wants is actually preventing her from being a homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a reality.
That's the truth. Like, and if she really sat down with somebody to get pre-approved, they're going to be like, the cars. That is your mortgage.
Right. And if you look at it from a perspective or percentage of her income, if I'm not mistaken, you said it was $5,600 in gross income. She's paying almost a third of her gross income in car payments and insurance.
Yeah. And yes, she has a husband, but when we do the math on what she said her paycheck was, she's making the bulk of the income, 67.
Oh yeah,
67,000. So he's making either 32,000, or we'll give the brother a break, maybe 35,000. We'll give him a little bump, 35,000. So that'll make them 105,000, right? But CNBC didn't say that. CNBC said 100,000 plus. So that means they're right at the border. So he's right around 35.
At the end of this little piece, she talks about where they are. She said they're somewhere around about Plano. She said something about that.
Where it's dirt cheap.
Getting a different job, when she talked about at the end of this spot. But at the end of the day, she looks young. She looks like she's probably mid-30s, So she could easily reverse this negative trend that she perceives, and she could actually start accelerating down her debt. And then even, I bet you this, with her car payments, when the market went down the interest rates went down, when the central bank went to zero for the retail banks, I bet you she probably didn't even think about refinancing her car and paying less on the interest.
No, she didn't.
Just some basic stuff, but common sense is not common knowledge.
Ever. Sadly.
So now, number 7 out of the 7 secrets for the middle class and freedom is actually cooperative economics. Get yourself.
Wait. That ties in perfectly. Hold on, let me show you this. That's what it says.
Share of overall income, and because of rising inequalities, such that
eat the rich
10%, particularly the top 1%, and even more so the top 0.1%, took in much of the gains from the growth of the economy.
While incomes stagnate, the cost of living has risen dramatically over the years. To put it into perspective, the average household income in the US saw just a 16% increase over the last 50 years. In comparison, Housing costs increased by 190%, and college tuition shot up by nearly 264% in the same time period.
There's the scam right
I
there.
first moved in over here in these apartments I live in 5 years ago. My income
5 years ago in these apartments. But just I'm gonna keep going.
my rent was like $1,100. It's now $1,700. That's $600 increase.
So she's been there 5 years, and every year they've done barely $100 increase. Like, so she's complaining because originally she was only paying 1,100.
Right.
That's you guys. If
That's
you
a
don't
mortgage
understand,
payment.
that's so small for Dallas.
Right.
But go, I'm gonna keep going.
Happened. I did not have a $600 increase. Like, my income did not increase at the same rate.
Rising expenditure.
I hate that because that is such a my rent increased $600. Ma'am, the percentage of your rent per your income, you were already paying like if you were in your hubby were making $100K and y'all were only paying 1,100, you were underneath a budget. Like, you should have saved so much money in this small time frame. If I listen, you guys, when this plays live, tell me if I'm crazy or not. Put a 1 in the comments if you understand what I'm saying and how small her rent is, especially Plano, Texas.
Yeah.
But
And if you think about it, if that was 5 years ago, that was 2017.
She could have got a house in Dallas.
Exactly.
She could have got a house in Dallas.
And guess what? She could have bought a house on the short sale. She could have bought a house on the tax lien. She could have bought a house in the foreclosure market. And I'm not talking about beat up houses. I'm talking about actually houses that are relatively new when other people have overextended. Because if you can afford to make that payment, which is actually 50%, her rent has gone up almost 50%. It's actually more than 50% because she started at 1,100, is now 1,700, 600. That's like 55% of her original rent, right? So if she could afford that, and over the period of 5 years, that's really, she's given back. Let's see, six. That's $30,000. There's a down payment right there, Erica. And she could have done the simple, 3% down program, and at $1,700 a month, you can easily have yourself a $350,000 house with the escrow included for $1,700 a month. So
that's crazy.
She could, and again, I go back to, if she's on a budget, why hasn't she sought out some financial education or a system that can actually give her leverage and give her education and give her guidance? Because it's not,
or where it's choking me. Like, she's doing this show, this interview, and I'm hoping, knock on wood, if I find her on, if someone finds her on Twitter or Instagram, you guys let us know in the chat, because she's probably getting bombarded now by messaging. But I think DJ the Money Coach, you should reach out to her and see if, listen, we'll give you a free consult because it's crazy.
Oh yeah, you know she's being bombarded now, because the first question is, the person that's in the mortgage business, hey, does she have at least a 620 credit score? And if she got a 660, we getting her a mortgage. Real talk.
Like, we'll get her up in there though this week. What she need.
And we're going to get her credit back at close and put her in a house. And then that person is going to make themselves a commission between $3,000 to $5,000. Real talk.
Let me see what this thing says.
Rising prices in health, housing, and education are very real. And they've put a tremendous amount of pressure on income, so on households in the middle, whose income simply doesn't go as far as it used to.
The situation is even worse in cities where the cost of living is already higher. An analysis in 2018 found that raising a family and a middle-class lifestyle in expensive coastal cities like San Francisco or New York needs an income of at least $300,000 a year.
Right here, I would like everybody to look on the screen. Put a 1 on the comments if you see this, because you know why? Me and DJ the Money Coach said $250,000 a year ago. We even said it in a video 6 months ago. So right now, CNBC, because you guys are eating us up in the comments, I've posted those videos in the community tab. You guys will see where people in the comments are going, oh, 250,000, that's crazy. That's high net worth. You guys are wrong. CNBC just confirmed what me and DJ the Money Coach said 6 months ago and a year ago. If you want to have a real middle class life, and we can even put the caveats, little caveats, for California coast, Oregon, Washington, and then Washington, D.C., New York, Maryland, Baltimore, parts of Florida, it's 250,000 and up. Business owners are the true middle class. People making 250, which is tech folks, are the true middle class. High income sales guys, Black Heights YouTube channel is the true middle class. You guys bashed us completely in the chat. We did a video that went
Yeah, I remember
92,000
that.
strong about banks closing, and you guys said you guys are crazy. CNBC just confirmed. I want it to be noted. I want it to be screenshot. CNBC just confirmed what we said. So, DJ, please elaborate. I just had to get that off my chest because I have to respond to all this sea of comments and people saying, well, you guys should respond to this. It confirms what we told you.
Again,
We told you.
It's real simple math, Erica. Again, everything doubles by taxation inflation every 10 years. And all you have to do is just go back 10 years, look what the price of living in a, middle class community is and what it is now, and it's relative. So at the end of the day, again, you have to position yourself to get education, then get assessments of where you are, and then once you get the assessments, then you have to start applying these 7 secrets for the middle class. And having access to a network in cooperative economics is where the rubber meets the road. So you don't have to be smart. You just got to be smart enough to get around the people that know what the trends are and what the vehicles are to get you and solidify your middle class, existence. And that's where a lot of people fall short because they educate themselves instead of getting around people who are actually further down the road than what they are. And then they overextend themselves because that's the American dream. Mm-hmm. Make myself look like I'm wealthy when I'm not, and I'm buying everything on credit. And then when that credit runs out, then now I'm choked by it. And now I'm actually at the bottom of the barrel. And now I'm wondering, how did I get here? And that's what I was. That's why I had a 525 credit score. That's why I had $60,000 worth of, consumable debt and student loans. And again, this was almost 20 years ago, for me. But
I'm literally going to write in the title, Millionaire Reacts to CNBC.
Yeah, right. It's still relative because in 1998, 1999, which is actually more than 20 years, is actually about 24 years, that if you double that, it would be right about $120,000, $140,000.
How you guys doing? This is Erica from the Classy Climb blog. Listen, I know this year has kicked some of you right in the pants, but we don't have to sit down and take this lying down. At the end of the day, what we can do here is fight back. You have to design your digital life. Many people out there know the power of the internet, know the power of social media, know the power of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, but don't know the steps in order to organize themselves to win. How do you get on there, get leads, get customers, and win? Well, that's what I'm putting together this course for. It's for those of you who want to have a digital footprint and dominate. Listen, in these years of 18 to 24 months, we don't know whether we're going to be in the house or out the house. Let's get you where you want to be, near your family, near your friends, in a safe location, and still making money daily. Let's not give up because of the news, of the lack of support from friends and family. You can do this.
But at that point, I had a reality check. I said, you know what? How did I get here? Let me see what's the first thing that I need to do is acknowledge what I've gotten myself into. Second thing is, let me educate myself. Third thing is, let me put a plan together with people who know what they're doing. And then the fourth thing is, let me put my head down and go to work. And here's the reality. As long as you got your health, Erica, there's nothing you can't overcome in 3 to 5 years with a plan, a system, accountability, discipline, and work. I'm gonna say that. And this is real. $300,000 a year. We talked about that last year, 6 months ago. And because we've been out there. I lived in San Francisco. And I was living in San Francisco from 97 to 98. And the incomes in the Mission area was about there, about 180, 200,000. And that was middle class, real talk. So that's the thing. So these are wake up calls. And again, if you're not in the middle class and you are working middle class, don't get in a panic. Take a step back, get yourself assessed, and then put a plan together. And then if you are deficient when it comes to skill sets, get yourself in a certification class, get yourself around some people like Erica and get yourself into the classy climb. Get yourself and learn how to become a mobile pocket millionaire by developing, transferable skill sets, because the digital economy, the digital real estate, and tech opportunities are amazingly, and there are more demand than there are people who can actually fill the void, and that's going to be for a long period of time. I mean, you literally could get a trade and in 6 months be making $30-$40 an hour.
Yeah.
And if you took that $30-$40 an hour and you didn't extend your living style to that rate of hourly wage, which is like $80,000 a year, and you start hammering down your debt and extending, things and paying yourself first, emergency fund and stuff, before you know, you'd be ahead of the game. And like I said, you would start piling cash and just putting 5 to 10% aside a year. You could start seeing the deals start coming into fruition, because that reticular science that's being applied, if you were looking for a diamond ring or a car of your choice, all of a sudden you would see it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to get out of debt and make yourself 6 figures, all of a sudden you would start seeing 6-figure opportunities, and then you would see what the skill set, the required experience to get it, and all you had to do is apply and put yourself in position to win. That's really what it boils down to. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They want it easy. They don't want to do any work, and they want to play the victim role. That's real talk. I could have played the victim role when I had my debt, and I could have blamed it on somebody else. But the reality is, nobody put a gun to my head and say, "Hey, man, fill out these credit cards and spend."
Part of the reason I stopped on this part of the video for you guys to see this $300,000 number, one, to gloat that we were right, but two, you saw the comparison to the first video we showed you. 26,000 for one person. Where can 26,000 a year get you in New York, Florida, California, Oregon, Washington, even Alaska? You can't really live like that. You got to be in the bush, right? Even in Alaska. So we already realized that first video that's 3 years old, CNBC is kind of acknowledging, yeah, that's kind of off, right? According to the government, right? A one person for 26,000 is the middle class, but a family of 4 on 20K, you're in poverty. So it's like, what's the difference here? And that's why when people talk about, when I say winter is coming, I have some clips coming from my tour. Like when I say winter is coming, it's coming for people who are not acknowledging that that's not a real number. We got rid of the term working class in the 40s, I think, in the 30s or 40s. We got rid of that term working class because that meant servants, right? House servants, right? But that's what most people are. If they stop working today at their job, it's a wrap. And like, it's a wrap.
Oh yeah,
It's a wrap in a month.
Here's a funny thing. Last time I did a major bankruptcy training class, which was about 10 years ago, the average person was literally $5,000 away from filing bankruptcy, Erica. People, this was before they changed the bankruptcy laws and made it more stringent. But think about that. That's about $400 a month in debt, and people were filing bankruptcy because they owed as little as $5,000.
I've had students call and talk about, I got credit card debt. I said, how bad is it? 14,000. I said, ma'am, no, you got $1,000 a month part-time job you need to get.
Right.
That's what you have. You don't have bankruptcy. So
Exactly.
I believe that. Here's let me see. I think they got
Here. For
her talking
reference,
again.
just 10% of all households made
Just 10% of all households made 200,000 plus in 2020. What does that mean? Really, the middle class is like 10% of households in the United States. But we'll go continue.
$200,000 over in 2020.
I recently saw an apartment next to the building I work in Plano, and I was like, it'd be great to walk across the street to work. And it was like $2,400 for an efficiency. And I'm like,
but first, can I acknowledge the shirt she's wearing before I continue? SMU is a private college.
Exactly.
And
I was paying attention to that the whole time I first saw it.
I wonder if she got here on a scholarship. I wonder if, because this is an expensive private college. It's not cheap as in middle
right now SMU is about $55,000 a year.
So we didn't hear student loans in this. So I'm praying this young lady doesn't have student loans, but I'm also hoping maybe she got some scholarships. So let me finish.
that's insane. And then it's like, for what I have, they call a townhome, 3 beds.
First of all, 3-bedroom, 2-bath is what she's in right now for $1,600. Y'all tell me where that's at.
2 bath, $5,500. I'm like, well, absolutely not. Like, I'm gonna pay $5,500 and I don't own it. It's not mine. It's just getting worse. And everyone is like, I feel like
Let's put it to this way: 5,500 a month is $1 million home. Am I right? To check my math, DJ the Money Coach. 5,500 is $1 million home.
Yep.
So she's like, "Oh, I don't own it." Well, first of all, we ain't gonna be able to get you to get no $5,000 mortgage. That's not happening for you. But we can get you a $2,000 mortgage, and it still be a humongous home in Texas.
And what I also thought was funny, what she's about to say. Go ahead, let it play
are
out.
being pushed out to the suburbs, and then people from out of state can come in and enjoy the beautiful fruits of Dallas and have fun and be close to the restaurants. And I have to live out here, and it's not bad, but it's not Dallas. I'm from Dallas. I grew up there. That's where I want to be. But how it is now, it's just not affordable.
Policymaking might be both.
Y'all, Plano is a 20-30 minute drive. She lives in the suburbs.
Right. And this is what I find to be funny. When I talk to people a lot and they're complaining about they can't afford stuff, I say, well, why live there? Why are you tied into your tradition or your past history? And she's talking about she want to live in Dallas. But the reality is, hey, live somewhere where you can get a better quality of life with less stress.
And I mean, like, when I think of her saying she wants to live in Dallas, I've actually looked at homes in Dallas. The amount of house she would get in Plano is humongous compared to what she would get in actual Dallas. She would be getting a piece of corner in Dallas, right? With next to the highway, right? Like, so even, and this is something, she's been there 5 years. So it's not like she hasn't had time to think about
exactly
getting some type of property and seeing maybe the prices increase.
Maybe she had more debt. Maybe she paid off some little student loans, and it just snuck up on her. 5 years go by just like that.
It really does.
So in that regard, because it don't make sense if you went from $1,100 a month in the same place to $1,700, you should have been putting your chips aside and been applying for the lowest down payment program to get yourself in the first time buyer house program.
Well, she might even be able to get USDA loan out in Plano a couple years ago.
Easily.
USDA, no money down, NACA. She probably could have had access to that 5 years ago.
Yep, what used to be called the Nehemiah program as well. Easily done. I mean, I know so many people that have taken advantage of those programs, and you would have got the benefit of the appreciation, which she could have at this point refinanced the house that she would have bought under NACA or the old Nehemiah program, and basically had equity, and she could have basically paid off her cars.
I'll even tell you this way. We've got friends who bought a house in Round Rock, which is only 30 minutes from downtown Austin. After 2 years of living there, got renters in it now, got a house down here closer to Austin, right? Because they just had to be in Austin, all down near the downtown. But it wouldn't have got there if they didn't buy the house first in Round Rock, so they could have an asset that pays them, and the equity they got out of that house, cash out refinance and put it on another house. That's how they got the bigger house. You have to at some point make a investment somewhere.
So they've done everything right except for, like you said, Erica, get an assessment, get a plan, get an action. They're doing a budget under their limited financial intelligence. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that because you don't know what you don't know. But when you're starting to see that you're coming up against it, then you should be basically saying, hey, again, where can I reach out to get myself some education and get some people that can help and assist me to win in life? Because again, she's not that old. She
really isn't. She's young. Yeah, she's got time to turn around.
She can reverse that trend. And right now, again, with a credit, you can get interest rates still for under 3% or right at 3%. So you can still get a good quality piece of home and pay $1,700 a month and have the same situation that she's in and be better and be a homeowner if that's what her dream is.
Well, and I'm laughing too. She's like, to enjoy the restaurants, enjoy the vibe, I guess the vibe, right? Another thing on this is the way people are looking at living in the suburbs. A lot of people are moving to the suburbs, right? And like getting more for their money. And I wouldn't want to be, I mean, again, y'all, she's in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhouse. She's only paying $1,600. That's a steal. So there's a lot to this video. I'm going to show a little bit more.
And the solution of the middle class squeeze.
There is no help whatsoever. There's no policy in place to assist people And I feel like as soon as you get a job or as soon as you're working, they're just like, oh, that's all you need is a job. You got it.
Did you just hear that, DJ?
That's incorrect. She just said misinformation right there. There's
Wow.
no place to assist or help. That is
You got a
false.
job, you're okay. Ma'am, you and your husband together make 100,000. You don't need food stamps. You don't need a down payment assistance. You guys need a plan. That's what you need.
You know, go forth and have at it.
The stagnation of wages and paychecks for people started in the 70s when productivity started growing more slowly, but really accelerated after 1979 and 80 when there was a huge growth of inequality, when the top 1% took off, when the stock market grew, but people's paychecks didn't. And that has to do with issues of deregulation and excessive unemployment, the weakening of unions, the failure to raise the minimum wage, globalization with low wage countries that really put the kibosh on blue collar job opportunities in many places. The point is that it's not that the economy got worse, it was that there were policy decisions made so that the economic growth did not filter down to the vast majority.
The country wasn't built by Wall Street bankers, CEOs, and hedge fund managers. It was built by you. It was built by the great American middle class.
In response, the Biden administration came into office in 2021 with a promise to revitalize the middle class. The $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill from November 2021 and the upcoming Build Back Better Act both include provisions aimed at financially supporting middle-income families. But as Congress continues to find itself in stalemate, only time will tell whether these bills would really have.
So let's address two things here. What's the difference between Make America Great Again and Build Back Better? I mean, if we're going to go there, you guys, what's the difference in the rhetoric? We both know something needs to be fixed. Now, when I'm going to attack their productivity, factories started leaving, right? You start getting away from factory jobs. Number two, Wall Street and hedge funds didn't build America. But guess what? Where's your pension at? Where's your teacher pension at? Where's your firefighter pension at? Where's your police officer pension? So to me, the biggest disservice to Americans, one, we got off the gold standard. And two, people were not educated. Hey, you need to take 10% of your money and put it in long-term investments. If you actually check out the average man or woman who's in their 50s with their 401k, they only have 200,000 in it. And they're talking about retiring. With what money? With what money? And the reason I talk about when people say renters nation, a combination of things are happening with the young lady. Maybe she paid off her SMU debt. Congratulations. And now her and her husband are dealing with, okay, well, now we want to move, but where? But another issue there is someone's making money off her and her husband chipping in $1,100 every month. And it's property owners, right? And those property owners are paying taxes in our society. So I think there's this kind of misconception that the greedy rich are holding us back from our wealth and the middle class could be better if you paid me more at my job, when really the middle class and especially the society is an asset owning class. Why are Nigerians, why are American, well, Indians from India, why are they, and I think Ukrainians are like the number 1, 2, and 3 when you actually look it up, and I probably might pull it up from Wikipedia, by ethnicity group, wealthier than white Americans. White Americans are like 16 on the list. Mm-hmm. Every other group is up high. When you look at the numbers, it's because they participate in asset owners. They own their house, they own their cars, they own a business, they own a building, they own something in America. It's not just high income that gets you there. And this is the big disconnect that we're experiencing.
And they do, which is number 7, cooperative economics.
Thank you. I was trying to lead you in there. I was trying to lead you in there.
They actually work together, which we just don't do. And that's the most important piece. The Eastern Asian Indians, they actually have consortiums and syndicates that actually bring their money together, and they buy gas stores, convenience stores, washing machines, laundromats and things of that nature. The reason why I know, because I've worked with a lot of them when I was in the bill pay business. And they corner the market on the ATM business as well. And then they put up the money, they live beneath their means for a period of time, and then they buy segments of a community, and then they bring one over at a time, and they play a role. And when they finish that role, they take that money, send it back to the motherland, and they rinse and repeat. So what we're not doing collectively, we're not creating our own cooperative economics in our own community. That's the biggest challenge, because also they just shown, I think maybe you sent that information to me, that we now have supposedly a $1.6 trillion consumable, buying power, which is just,
and our home ownership and assets went down
right
by thousands of dollars, but
Right.
everybody else, especially the Hispanic group, doubled. And people say, well, maybe that's immigration, maybe that's this. I've talked about that with other people. We'll do a show on that in the future. The common factor here is ownership. No matter what chart I show you, no matter where I go, the same thing applies. You have people in Atlanta who moved from New York 20 years ago, still renting apartments in Atlanta and crying about the cost of rent.
doesn't make any sense.
You left New York knowing that.
Doesn't make any sense.
You saw this play out before. Now where you gonna move from Atlanta? You gonna move to middle nowhere, Georgia? You gonna move to North Florida? You left New York.
Bessemer, Alabama.
Bessemer, okay, where they say Bessemer, they don't put in one of the S's in the
Right,
Bessemer.
that's right. Bessemer, that's right.
I went down there for an investment tour and was like, "What are you saying?" I went down
That's
there
funny.
also for tornado relief with Red
I went
Cross,
down there
so-
on a baseball tournament about 5 years ago.
Bessemer. You're like, huh? Like, I got a speech impediment, but what are you saying?
Man, again, you're watching this video and we're basically reacting to the video. But at the end of the day, what should you be thinking about? You should be thinking about, what's my next move? How do I get myself solidified as wealth middle class? Because it's not the earned income, it's the wealth that actually continues your lifestyle.
And it's not the policy either.
Significance. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, like you said, Erica, it's got to be equity and ownership and cooperative economics. And first and foremost, you got to start with a plan. 7 secrets for the middle class for freedom. 1, any types of cash that you have, you should start serving and saving cash on a percentage of your net income. Better yet, you should be doing your gross income. I would start at 5%, putting a little bit aside, emergency fund, Roth IRA, health savings account. And these things ain't sexy, but they are sexy because here's the thing. At the snap of a finger, Erica, 5 years goes by. And in 5 years, where this young lady is, she could have $30,000 to put down on a home. And with the market correction, she could actually put herself in position to get something on sale. As long as she got her credit up to a decent, score, she could actually start finding something that could actually give her the American dream, which is home ownership. That's the first thing. Second thing is shop for deals. Start purposely looking for deals in the area of the price point that you're trying to target. The third thing, acquire the credit lines while they're making them available before they, rescind some of these lines of credit. As the interest rates start to skyrocket, they're going to start pulling back on those lines of credit. But if you take those lines of credit, use 10% of them, pay them off every 30 days, and then go up to 30 to 40%, they will start extending the credit lines and they'll keep them viable for you. Then you have the leverage, because you put those all together. And number 5, like she talked about her budget needs a reality checkup from the neck up. That's the reality. And then plug into the system and use cooperative economics. And she looked like she might in her mid-30s. By the time she hit her 40s, they'd be A-OK.
Course corrected, yeah.
Yeah, because they did these corrections and they start contributing to these programs on a monthly basis. Like she's overpaying for her insurance, her cell phone, and her car note. She could be overpaying that into her emergency fund, her Roth, her health savings account, and then put a down payment on a house because she started to follow a system and she got some education from people who know what they're doing. But the reality is we live in a microwavable society that we want everything first and don't do the work. And then we complain when things don't work out our way. Again, I had the opportunity to be a victim. I chose not to. And everything's relative. I decided to put my head down, do some work, and apply what I was taught by somebody who was well down the road where I was trying to go. And I looked up 6 years later, everything was golden. And I had equity and ownership. And what I would do, if you're right at the cusp of the professional middle class, I would just subscribe to one philosophy. And we talk about this: acquire one asset a year. Yep. Let's say hypothetically,
one house a year,
$25,000, $30,000 or a line of credit. I will buy one property or invest in one business that give me a net 10% rate of return, and do that once every year. And you'll look up and you'll have 5 to 10 properties, and you'll be making yourself a net of like $24,000 to $3,000 a month, in addition to the appreciation of the asset, because that would grow typically at a 5 to 7% clip So you would have garnered yourself about a 15% net return every year. And based on the rule of 72, you would have got back all your principal in less than 6 years. And you will be on the upside by just doing one acquisition a year, about $25,000 to $30,000. And before you know it, like this young lady here, and like you said, use refinancing the right way and take some money out and buy another asset. She could look up and have herself $1 million worth of assets in property and have her some good residual income coming in with just a plan of action.
Yeah.
So it's she's complaining in a mild way, but it's like the wine and you know, they say, hey, I can hear the wine and let me give you some cheese with that wine, instead of say, hey, let me figure out how I can get myself some education, get myself some access, and start knocking down this unnecessary overpayments that I'm paying and revert that trend. Here's the one thing I did.
Hold on. I want to finish our
Impact
thing.
on the survival of middle-income households.
I don't see any change effects. My friends that were struggling are still struggling. You know, I'm still budgeting down to every dollar, trying to get things done. So I just feel like if the changes are happening, they're not trickling down fast enough for us to see the effects of it.
I think that overall, the team with the Biden administration's done quite well. At the same time, they're up against really strong headwinds. We're talking about a global pandemic that persists. We're talking about historic levels of inflation and labor shortages that are leading to these sorts of supply chain gaps worldwide. So I think that both things are true. They've done a good job, but they also have a lot of work to do.
The fate of the middle class could determine the future of the American dream.
I just think we do need to be concerned because this has an effect on how people perceive the American experiment working for them. And there are expectations that there should be this upward growth in mobility. But I think we do have an increasingly precarious labor market for many Americans. And so it's important to note that this is also a feature of inequality.
It's a shame that we have as much or more poverty now than we did 40 years ago, that the middle class is earning somewhat higher wages, but not in proportion to what they increased their productivity over that time. And what this does is it adds to division. It hurts our democracy. It hurts our the upward mobility of the children of these families.
That whole middle class of people is like teetering on the brink of ruin. One emergency, one catastrophe, and you can see even COVID showed you how quickly people who were doing good can just fall off and have nothing. That should have been a wake-up call that we need to change some things.
You know what?
I almost just fell out. I was like, ma'am.
What I find funny here is that what was America built on? You just said it. Small business ownership.
Small business ownership, farms, investments.
Not one time in this propaganda, medium
piece
that they talk about ownership. They talked about labor force, work, and they had the mentality of losing versus the mentality of winning. Now, you're going to drop that other video that you sent to me, and it's just the opposite. But it's funny because they're saying, I don't want to spoiler alert, but what your guy is talking about, GC. So he's talking the opposite of the mindset. And I think that's so important, is that you got to have an abundance mindset in everything you do in life.
And she's like, everybody I know is still struggling. And I said, well, first of all, that's the number one problem. Why do you still know a bunch of people still struggling?
Exactly.
Why are you hanging around the same people doing the same thing, crying about the same?
That's why you got to play the next video, because what your man GC talk about, you got to get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, right?
Which one? The extra one I sent you?
Yeah. The one with your boy GC.
Hold on, let me remove this
Mr. 10X.
Let me stop that. I had to. Y'all, I be sending all kind of stuff to people.
And let me point this out. Guess what? Hey, ladies and gentlemen who are watching this, we're not bashing this young lady. Let me make that
by no means
clear. We're not bashing her from by no means necessary. We're actually trying to give you insightful information if you happen to be in the same predicament as she is, to say that, the glass is still half full because you're young, you got your health, and all you're lacking right now, honestly, is financial intelligence and access to a system that you can actually do the 4 dirty little words. That's number one, discipline. Number 2, accountability to somebody who's down the road of where you're trying to go. 3, plug into a proven system. And 4, do the work. So we're actually just trying to give you insights on the things are great. Right now, it's no better time in the world to be alive and to be an American. And if you have that mindset, guess what? Great things going to come to you. That's just real talk. As long as you got your health, Erica, you got everything. My grandfather said, hey, if you lost some money, you lost nothing. You lost a friend, you lost something. But if you lose, your reputation and your mind of being positive, you lost everything because you're already defeated. That's why you take little children and you always lift them up, tell them, hey, they're great. You encourage them. You don't beat them down. And this person, they're like, man, they're still struggling. My friends are still struggling. Things ain't got no better. It's trickling down to, hey, how about step out on faith and earn your right to be a middle-class professional by looking at how America was built. It was built on ownership, equity and ownership. America is a corporation. Maybe I might, be crazy or something, I guess.
No. I just always tell people, like, I'm trying to find the right video, but I can't. But the biggest part, I tell people the 2 people that are going to make a ton of money is going to be Grant Cardone and Dave Ramsey. And people hate when I mention them both together, and I say because people, 1, don't know how to budget, right? Or say no to certain things. 2, here it is. I think it is right here. Hold on.
Yeah, and a lot of people will get upset with what he was saying.
Well, he says a lot of stuff, so people.
I mean, he does it to be provocative for a reason.
I think this might be the right one. I gotta see.
I'm trying to see. I know you sent it to me earlier. I watched.
I be sending all kind of stuff to you.
Twice. I was just laughing.
Let me try this, and then we're gonna end out with this one. We're gonna show this last video and we're gonna wrap it up. But you guys, listen. The reason I put, I think we're gonna elevate DJ Money to a playlist and pull all our videos together because they've done really well. They're giving you solid information. I think it's helping a lot of y'all. So we're gonna try to put him off into a playlist. Here we go. Let's see if y'all can hear this. Y'all should be able to hear the audio.
The Prime Minister of Thailand on his left, Mr. 10X and Mr. Thailand. And he reaches over, touches me on the knee, and he's like, would you like to fly to Dubai? We were in Abu Dhabi. He's like, would you like to fly to Dubai? I'm like, hello. Yes, sir, I will. Now, I don't know if that includes Elena or not. So I'm hitting these fixed ideas. I'm like, I wonder if that means my wife is invited. So the point of this story is like, no matter where you're at in life, if you're still learning and you're still putting yourself in uncomfortable or new environments, you're going to be a little, I don't know what the cultures are. When I was with the police and they were investigating me in Dubai, I crossed my legs like this. The guy walked in and says, please, sit proper. I'm like, yeah, okay, man. What's the deal here?
I ran into
like that there in the Middle East, dude, to see the bottom of a soul is so disrespectful.
Really?
But this is also disrespectful. This is considered to be aggressive.
My leg was shaking when you started. My foot was shaking when you said the bottom of the soul.
This is like.
Oh, sorry.
Because I'm not showing I knew about the soul thing. Don't show the soul. But this is considered aggressive by the police.
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, yeah, man. But you see, all these things are like, I think people think, oh my God.
I don't know if this was the right clip, but I thought it was.
It was the one. It was like
okay.
60 seconds.
Well, I have to go find it. But put yourself in an uncomfortable environment, y'all. It's just first one is commit to getting known. 2 is don't waste money. He had some other ones on there. But my biggest thing to you guys is I want you to understand that we're gonna have moving arguments about middle class. And average is over. There's several books that the titles are called Average is Over. You have people on the internet hollering at you about, well, I'm just an average guy or average girl, or I'm just an average person. And average is not going to cut it no more if you don't have a plan. So if you like being a teacher and you only make $40K a year, no problem. Keep being a teacher, but you need to figure out how in your summers or in your off time you can tutor, make more money, and invest that money. Because I have people in Texas arguing about the pension.
I just sent it to you. If you get your email, I just forwarded back your email that you sent to me. I just sent it back to you. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
But yeah, that's true. I mean, let's think about it. What's the colloquialism for middle class? It's the best of the worst and the worst of the best. So why would you even want to be middle class, really, think about it. You should strive to get better.
Okay, I see what it is. I was on a CNBC drag. Hold on. Y'all don't understand. I be in these CNBC streets like I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. That's
I
something
mean,
my
that's the
grandpa used
real
to say.
talk. I mean, and you shouldn't be teaching your children the wrong mindset. You should teach them a mindset of growth, prosperity, work, integrity, and build a great reputation. That's what we ought to be teaching our children and our children's children, and our children are going to watch from our actions. So if my children understand we are entrepreneurs because we are the American dream at the end of the day. Equity and ownership. There you
All right,
go.
you guys, we found it. We're going to close out on this one. And I want you guys to find us online so you can get your assessment and get yourself right. Here we go.
When you get to $1 million, you're like, oh, that's nothing. It wasn't a celebration, it was a realization. That's no money. Millionaire is the new middle class. Millionaire status today is the middle class of the 1960s. When you get $1 million today, you're going to realize, oh, I got about 4 or 5 years of money. Now, I know some of you think, oh, I can live forever on that. You're wrong. You just hadn't done the math yet. When you start making it, you're just going to want to start making more. It's not about greed. It's about help. Because all of a sudden you realize, wow, I could help my church. I could help the local school. I could help my kids more. I could help my mom now. It requires you to do things that are uncomfortable. It requires you to meet people that maybe you don't feel like meeting. It requires you to go into environments that are not familiar to you. You have to extrovert even when you might feel like introvert. I say, go get rich. Go help a bunch of people. And when you get rich, go get richer.
Okay, that's what it was. Grant Hairbeat was real dark about 3 years ago. They done stressed him out. They done stressed Grant out. He tired.
I mean, you think
He's
about
Greek
it.
too. He's not
It's
white. He's Greek.
it's an
So.
exaggeration, but in reality, he actually is telling a lot of truth right there. You know,
David Bet Carroll. Oh, what's his name? I'm saying it wrong. David Bet Value Entertainment guy. He basically said
oh yeah,
200,000 is the new 100,000.
Yep.
And I want to put it to you this way: if old girl and her man been making 100,000 for 5 years, they've made $500,000.
There you go. Before taxes.
My friend made $190,000 at Samsung. She's been at Samsung maybe 10 years plus, almost 12 years. Income always increasing she got to the final 190. But I'm like, she's made almost $2 million in the 10 years she's been in Austin versus someone making 40,000 a year saying, hey, I'm just average. In 10 years, they've only made 400,000. In 10 years, she's made almost 2 million. You got a whole different conversation. So, but it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep and invest. So you just saw old girl make 100,000 and she's still in an apartment and she's unhappy.
Exactly. And that's because of her own mindset and the ability to not get herself around the right people. So like she said, her people that she's around, and what do you say? Successful people, they get used to being uncomfortable to stretch themselves. If you stretch a rubber band, it never really goes back to its regular size. So you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable in order for you to get to the next level in anything you do. That's in education, that's in sports, that's in business, that's in non-for-profits. You have to get out of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reality. And a lot of people are not willing to do that. So you're not willing to do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do. So right there, you've already defeated yourself. But you can reverse all of that right now by just taking advantage of the 7 secrets for the middle class to have freedom. Number one, any available cash that you have, you should start putting aside about 5% of it. If you start off today and you can only put $50 aside, you should start putting $50 aside. Here's what you also should do, Erica. So right now we're in a volatile market, but you know what? 94.7% of all gains in the stock market are based on 2 models put together, 2 ingredients. It's dollar cost averaging and asset allocation. Because what happens in a volatile market if you pick the right stock in the right sector, or let's say you do a index fund where you get the whole industry and it basically caps your losses but gives you a certain percentage of gains. Right now, you ought to be looking at this stuff is on sale, baby. I got dollar cost averaging and asset allocation moving together to make myself a successful cake. And I'm not going to touch this stuff for 5 to 10 years anyway. I'm piling in and buying me some goodies. Then I'm piling in and put my money in emergency fund. Then I'm fully funding my Roth IRA when I get my tax refund. And if I didn't start it and fully funded in 2021, I'm going to back fund that bad boy and get that one caught up to stat. And then I'm going to fully automatically have that money taken out every month for all of 2022. These are basic things, but they work. You know, that's the funny thing about them. They work. So right now, even though there's a dip, and yeah, you want to try to do all that sexy stuff. That's what you got to stop doing. Stop trying to do options and Forex and all this stuff that you have no expertise in. You're just a speculator. Go with the tried and true stuff, Erica. Crawl, walk, run. Get yourself an assessment. Get yourself a budget. Find out where you are. What is your financial intelligence and your emotional intelligence, and bring them together. Put them in a system. Cash, shop for deals, acquire lines of credit while it's available, utilize them properly so that they continue to extend and give you more credit, okay? Then leverage that. And then number 5, adjust your budget. Make adjustments. If you really want to get out from underneath of a situation, you know what? Dial it back a little bit. Dial it back 5-10%. And then pay that stuff down and get consumer debt free. You'd be so amazed at how much freedom you have by not owing anybody debt. It's amazing how that works. Plug into a system, use cooperative economics, find yourself access to what I call STEAM: science, technology, entrepreneurship, access, and membership, or better yet, mentorship, because you don't have to be smart to be wealthy on this planet. You just got to be smart enough to know the people who are already doing it the right way. You got to be smart enough to create joint venture partnerships with people who are looking for people that can help them out with their time and their energy. And if you can do that properly, again, 5 years go by just like that, and you could be up on the right side. And if you're already on the right side and you don't believe that $300,000 is the real middle class of comfortness, then what you should do, because you can grab a hold to $25,000, $30,000 every year, you should start systematically buying one asset that will generate passive income. Me personally, I invest in businesses first, because businesses make the best amount of income immediately because you have contracts. Okay. Second thing, I then buy real estate. And what I do is I take my gross revenues from my business, Erica, and before I pay taxes legally, ethically, and morally sound, I acquire real estate, and then I leverage the tax laws with the proper entity structure. And when I'm doing all that, you know what I do? I sit down with my CPA, my registered investment advisor, my business coach, my banker, and tell them what I'm trying to grow my business over the next 6, 12, 36 months. And they show me the best information in the industry, and I make a decision on how to execute. And it's so ironic that on Sunday, you're going to be watching the Super Bowl. The whole world is going to be watching the Super Bowl. 2-3 billion people are going to be watching the Super Bowl. And right above my shoulder, I said, win the retirement Super Bowl. So what is your retirement plan for your Super Bowl if you don't know? And if you don't know, that's the number reason why you need to get assessment. You need to get yourself into somebody's master class and get yourself education, and then follow a budget and take these 7 secrets for the middle class, and you will get free in 3 to 5 years.
So DJ, where can they sign up with you? Because I know you have another one coming up. Did we just miss it? That was nice. When's the next webinar? When can people, can people even just sign up for just an assessment with you right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're actually going to do another masterclass next Wednesday, which is the 16th of February. We got one coming up at 16th of February, because you and I know we're going to be, globe trekking here in a couple of weeks. So actually, you can catch our next master class on the 16th. Erica, I think we gave you the link, and it's the same link, ladies and gentlemen. It may say the 9th, but it actually is active. So on the 16th, you'll get a 2-hour master class that actually put CPAs in front of you, registered investment advisors in front of you. It'll put bankers in front of you, and it'll actually show you the 7 spheres of money of actually how to do consumer debt freedom, pay yourself first, emergency fund, Roth IRA, self-employment plan, take advantage of what's called the CAFE Rule 125 when you start a business, how to get all these legal write-offs because it's a tax code. And then we'll show you access behind the veil of actual investments that we actually are participating in as little as $2,500 that are getting 12 to 15% rate of returns right now underneath your nose. Right. You can do that. So that masterclass, and we'll give you the book as well. We'll give you the ABCs of Wealth book, And Erica, we're actually giving them the 3-hour, 18-module digital course that is our best-selling course, Family Finance 101. And that will give you everything from A to Z, like a financial encyclopedia. And that's going to be February 16th. That's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. It's a master class taught by myself, my CPA, my registered investment advisor. And the one we had yesterday, man, people were excited. And they were like, this is the best master class I ever got. And that's a class that we get in corporate America, $1,995. Sometimes we get $2,995. You can get it for less than $200 with a consultation. So we'll even throw in a consultation, Erica. And if they do, the first 10 people, no, first 20 people, we'll get you a consultation with me, my CPA, and our registered investment advisor. That's another value of over $1,500.
Gotcha.
Help everybody out. They can get
sure.
Right in the link, and we can help you overcome the false propaganda of these, commercials on CNBC.
For sure. Hey, listen, you guys, this is your girl, Erica, Classy Clown Blog. I really want you guys to hone in and kind of get yourself plugged in with people who are going somewhere, doing something, investing in places, building new options. If she still knows a lot of people that are struggling, she's got to get around some new people. Listen, you guys, I am still on vacation. You're going to get these great videos. I'm talking to several friends. We've got great information. That same video, the video we just did, we're going to do one with Tim Jackson because he's a realtor and he knows the real prices up there. So he's going to give us his realtor opinion of Dallas, Texas for us. So DJ, thank you for being here with us. And hopefully me and you can do something while we're in overseas. And we'll record something maybe on the beach or something.
We got to do something live. Man, I can't wait. I can't wait till we hit that beautiful top 10 destination in the world.
We can't tell people for safety.
We can't tell.
Can't tell them. But I have tagged him in some of the videos on the community wall. So we'll get the pom-pom lifestyle. I'll probably bring the t-shirt maybe.
Oh, yeah.
In the bag.
We got to do it. Hey, we wish everybody a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind. Come join us on the Beaches of the World Club because Erica and I will be at one soon, right?
For sure. All right, you guys, this is your girl, Erica, Classy Climb Blog. Also, you can find DJ the Money Coach on Instagram at 7 Spears of
Money.
7 Spears of Money.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Hit you later.
Peace. Everybody, this is DJ the Money Coach. I want to invite you to our master class and teach you the pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. So you can come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. What is that master class going to do for you? It's going to help you create your Black History success story. I'm going to teach you how to create consumer debt freedom. Earn an 800 credit score. I'm going to teach you how to pay off your home in 5 to 7 years. I'm going to teach you how to create passive income of $8,333 a month by acquiring businesses, acquiring real estate, and leveraging the tax laws. I'm also going to throw in our Family Finance 101 course, 3 hours, 18 modules. I'm going to give you our best-selling book, ABCs of Wealth, the common sense strategy of achieving American dream. And as a special bonus, I'm going to give you 3 consultations live with DJ the Money Coach, Melvin Hobson, our registered investment advisor of 18 years, and James Lane Jr., our CPA over 7 years. And all you have to do is say, get me free to create Black History with DJ Money. That's right. Get me free, create Black History with DJ Money. Hit the link and you get over $3,000 worth of value for less than $200 to celebrate Black History. And come join me on the Beaches of the World Club with DJ Money and the Master Class.